Today on the channel, the best of 2025 lists continue, and today we're counting down my top 10 miscellaneous wrestling figures of 2025.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another top 10 best of 2025 countdown. In today's video, we're counting down my top 10 favorite miscellaneous wrestling figures of 2025, and you're probably asking yourself, what counts as miscellaneous wrestling figure? Well, Mattel does not count. Jazzwares does not count. So WWE, AEW, they're out the window. Also, what doesn't count? Retro wrestling figures, the Hasbro-styled figures. As we got a lot of company making the Hasbro-style figures right now, I did separate countdowns of them, so you will see a top 10 retros. You also already saw on the channel top 5 retro tag teams. Now, this countdown here, I'm lumping tag teams together as one unit. Usually I separate those characters, not doing it this time here. And I gotta be honest, I really thought in 2025, we would have a lot harder decisions to make in this top 10 countdown. Instead, we barely could get to 10 in a lot of ways, you could say. We probably had, 15, 16 figures to choose from that fits the criteria for this countdown. And that is a lot thanks to our good friends over there at Powertown. We should have had a ton of Powertown figures to put into this list. Unfortunately, they dropped the ball that's been beaten like a dead horse ad nauseum here on this very YouTube channel. And every single Saturday, I give the Powertown update if you guys follow along on this channel as well. But Powertown, shame on you. I guess that's all we need to say until we talk about it more in this countdown a little bit here. But as usual, this is my list. It is my top 10. Your list can be in the comments, and it can be 100% right. And you guys know I do this list. I start at number 10, work my way to number 1. Number 1 being my top miscellaneous wrestling figure of 2025. I hope next year we have a bigger list. Obviously, the Pinnacle collection is another one. I mentioned Powertown. Pinnacle should have been here this year. I give Zombie Sailor Toys a heck of a lot more of a pass than Powertown. It looks like they're just going to be a month or two off of their initial decree, unfortunately. But it is what it is. We'll talk about those in 2026. But without further ado, let's kick it off. Number 10. Here we go. We kick off the top 10 at number 10, and maybe a little recency bias on here. If all the Powertown stuff arrived this year, maybe it wouldn't be on the list. However, here we are, number 10. We're going to Ringside Collectibles. We're going to their unsanctioned TNA line. I believe in Joe Hendry, and of course, say his name, and he appears ×2. Basically a pick-em here. I have really no preference between the two. Outside of the knee pads, when I look at them, they look like the exact same figure, but there is some other differences besides that. But this one did come in at number 10, and like I said, recency bias, as this just was released. Pick it up right now at Ringside Collectibles if you need it. Big W for Ringside here. Joe Hendry's as big as he's ever been, and now on NXT and possibly WWE TV. Going to be a big year for Joe Hendry next year in 2026, and they're really the first one to get after Joe Hendry Mania, so kudos to them. I also like with this figure, they brought back the entrance grate sound module. I think that is a pretty cool, neat feature. 2 heads for this one. Heads, maybe the limiting factor of this figure. Soft goods, probably one of the best soft goods we've ever had as far as regular t-shirts go in the action figure game as well. So Joe Hendry coming in hot, coming in right away at number 10. And number 9 comes to us from the Figure Collections line, known for their retro style figures as well as their Bone Cruncher style figures. And that's where we're going here at number 9, as we're going back to the days of the Aztecs. Yes, the Aztecs, Todd McFarlane. Some of the greatest stories ever told. Look them up on your own time. But here we are at number 9, Figure Collections, Aztec Jeff Jarrett, a figure I wanted back in the day. Ain't I great? Maybe not this era. But this reminds me of his time with the NWA, Jim Cornette, Barry Windham, Rock and Roll Express. A wild time in the WWF once upon a time, but very cool to get this year. This came out early in 2025 from Figure Collections. A lot of fun, a fun era of Jeff Jarrett. Nice to get in the Bone Cruncher line. And that's why he comes in number 9 in my top 10 list. We've hit the number 8 selection in my top 10 countdown. And number 8, Todd McFarlane. There's only one thing I could say. It's a war cry from him from the couch on almost a daily basis. It is yo baby, yo, with the official Top Rope Collectibles PN News. How about that? Absolutely love the PN News figure. Now, got to take yourself back in time. If you were a kid in my age bracket watching WCW, you were all about the yo baby, yo. That was rap music. That was cutting edge rap music. The neon colors, the big man, the big splash. I was here for PN News. A moment in time where I guess if you weren't there, I understand how you wouldn't like it. But I also had a very strong love for the Galoob figures once upon a time, and that's what we're getting here. Nobody else is doing the Galoob line. Yeah, Powertown's threatening it, Todd McFarlane. They've threatened a lot of things, including you and me. I can't believe it. But Powertown supposedly going to make MLW. I wouldn't hold our breath. But if you're looking for Galoob action, Top Rope Collectibles is the place to be. And I say yo baby, yo at number 8 with PN News. Number 7, for the first time, we dive into this brand in the countdown. The most controversial wrestling figure brand of all time. It is Powertown, and we're going to the Ultra Edition. We're going to Matt Cardona. Quite the figure for Matt Cardona here. Unfortunately for me, what holds this back a little bit is maybe a little bit too tan. Head sculpt not quite on point, where I think they could have done a little bit better on this one. I also have some gripes with Powertown as far as the hands and the falling off of the hands very easily, but that's neither here or there. Powertown really dropped the boat this year, as we talked about on a weekly basis. They could have been all over this countdown, I truly feel, if the stuff would have actually came to fruition. But we did get Cardona and Myers, and I have to wonder if we got Cardona and Myers because of Cardona and Myers being so engaged with the fan base and engaged with the Powertown brand to make sure these do get out there to their fans. So we got to give them kudos, because I do think they played a big part in that. Whether or not they tried or didn't try, I think the perception was they have to get those figures out, and they did. Matt Cardona, pretty cool. 2 title belts, big robe. I don't think of Matt with a robe very often either, even though he wore one for a while. You got middle fingers. We got a coin. Oh, everybody wants the coin. But it is a good figure for what it is. I just think there could have been more. But Matt Cardona comes in at number 7 in the top 10 list. Seeing a little bit of a pattern here at number 6. Of course, number 6 performer, a tag team specialist once upon a time with the number 7 performer, Matt Cardona. Who's at number 6? Well, we're going to the TNA line. We're going to Brian Myers. Of course, Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, a tag team once upon a time. I separated these two because they're not really a tag team at this point in time, and it's different gears. But they do go together like peanut butter and jelly, some could say. But number 6, Brian Myers gets the Duke over Matt Cardona. I do think it is a little bit better figure than Matt's, just barely. That's why it comes in at number 6. And this is the final representation of Powertown in this countdown. And once again, should have probably been all over this countdown this year. Just very unfortunate, the business circumstances over there. We'll wish for a better 2026. But number 6 for me, going to be Brian Myers. We've hit the halfway point of the countdown. You got your list together. Put it in the comments down below. But here we are at number 5. Number 5, once again, we return to the Figure Collections brand. We return to their Bone Crunchers brand. Don't call them Crushers. And we go to the Brood Edition Hardy Boys. One of the most famous eras of the Hardy Boys ever, and probably my favorite era as well. We've had them from Jakks. We've had them from Mattel and all points in between. Now we got them from Figure Collections. Possibly the greatest Bone Crunchers they have put out so far. We're not hearing a lot more about Bone Crunchers. I don't know if they're selling as well. I don't know if the nostalgia is quite there for the Bone Crunchers in 2025 or 2025 and 2026. Easy for me to say. But man, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy never looked as good as when they were in this. And very happy they made these figures to go with our traditional Bone Crushers from once upon a time. So Matt and Jeff coming in hot at number 5 from Figure Collections. We were at the number 4 spot, getting closer and closer to the number 1 selection. And number 4, I could say, is the sleeper of the top 10 this year. This is a set that came, I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but I didn't have this on my bingo card for 2025. They were in production for quite some time, but got to say, they never took our money until they were here. So there's something to say about that. I also say constant learning, constant improvement. This is the first figures from this line. Have to think we'll see improvements like the other line this one came out with. Where are we going? Well, we're going to the Regium line. We're going to the Godwins at number 4, Phineas Godwin and Hendry Godwin. The Godwins. Absolutely amazing figures here. Obviously, there's a few things I'd like to change. A little stiff in the joints. You can always heat them up. Maybe a little wonky in the hips. Just a little bit. But at the end of the day, this is his line. It's not supposed to be Mattel. It's not supposed to be Jazzwares. It's supposed to be his own thing. And that's what he's making. And we go back to his retro style figures. The Godwins, his first attempt over there as well. And we saw the most updated Godwins here. It makes me wonder what this line will turn into a couple of years from now as they do the constant learning, constant improvement we always do talk about. But I enjoyed these Godwins. I know some people, didn't like them as much as they thought they would, but I think as a whole, a lot better than expected is what the consensus is. And I think this is a fabulous job, and I'm anxious to see some of the other figures like the Raven and the Ahmed Johnson in 2026. 2 really good figures. I'm happy I got them in my collection. You should be too, but the Godwins coming in, number 4. Down to the final 3 miscellaneous top 10 wrestling figures of 2025. And next year, we might be able to do a top 5 or top 10 of just this own line and drop them out of the miscellaneous figures. We'll see where it goes. But coming in at number 3 is a recent one, another one that surprised us. Working in silence. There's something fun about that. There's something successful about that. We're going to the unsanctioned Classic Superstars line from Ringside Collectibles for number 3, Axe Smash Demolition, and I'm going to go the regular edition of Demolition, the more known face paint. That's very easy to say. Absolutely love these Demolition figures. Kudos to Ringside, making improvements on the Road Warriors as well as far as body size goes. But a beautiful, beautiful set here. A little of the shine taken off by Mattel re-signing Demolition, but they did beat those Demolition to market at least. And a little bit disappointing, I'm sure, for the Ringside team to see Demolition from Mattel. But at the end of the day, they make money off of both of them, so they're winning either way. And we won with these Demolitions. I actually bought 4 of these for my collection to display all the different looks and gears and everything else. I'm a big Demolition guy, so this is barking up the right tree, and it truly has been the year of Demolition. There's no doubt about it, but Ringside did an amazing job. Their Demolition comes in number 3. Down to the final 2, and the number 2 selection I got very early in January 2025, but I never forgot it. It's basically a 2-in-1 figure, and it comes from a company that makes wrestling figures. Dare I say they dabble, as it takes a long time in between releases. But when they do it right, man, oh man, do they do it right. Coming in at number 2 is Boss Fight Studios Coffin Edition Vampiro. And as I said, a 2-in-1 figure. You get a modern day vamp, and then you can get a face paint vamp as well. And who doesn't like face paint, huh? We're here for that. Beautiful packaging. Beautiful figure. Really like this one. A bit of a sleeper figure, maybe a forgotten figure for a lot of people, as it just depends when you got this, if you got this at all, as it was very hard to get, and it took a while to get into everybody's hands that wanted one, that ordered one. I was very happy to get this year, and like I said, I got it very early this year. Maybe somebody got it December of last year, but if I didn't, I don't count it in my countdown. I'm counting it in this countdown, and Vampiro Coffin Edition from Boss Fight comes in at number 2, which means there can be only one. What is the number 1 miscellaneous wrestling figure of 2025? Well, stay tuned. Here we are. We're at the number 1 miscellaneous wrestling figure of 2025. Once again, get your list together. Put it in the comments down below. And remember, it's my list, huh? I always hear that. Kyle, why didn't you put him at number 4? He shouldn't have been number 2 or whatever. Because it's my list. That's why. But here we are at number 1, and there's a lot that goes into these lists. How good is the figure? How much did the figure end up costing? Did it feel like it was worth what it was worth? How's the quality? There's a lot that goes into these, and one big part is how popular a performer is it to me myself? Of course, there could be the greatest ever No Way Jose figure ever that just has every detail down. But guess what? I'm not a huge No Way Jose guy, so he's probably never going to be my favorite figure ever. So I always have that as a little caveat in the list. And number 1 here, the number 1 selection, easily my favorite tag team of all time. And to find out these came out as we were all surprised at the same time, working in silence once again, and there's something big to be said about that. We go to the unsanctioned Classic Superstars line from Ringside Collectibles for the Legion of Doom Hawk and Animal taking the #1 spot. Now, I will say, they are a little skinnier. I think if Ringside had to do this all over again, these guys would be beefed up a little bit, at least to Demolition size. That being said, still amazing, as we're so void of Legion of Doom Road Warrior figures in this sizing, this scaling. It was a huge win for Ringside to come out with this one, and to make it even a bigger deal, this was the announcement basically of their unsanctioned Classic Superstars line, and our wheels got spinning. What could be next? What else could we get? Well, we saw throughout this year Demolition ×2, Joe Hendry ×2, and I think that's the blueprint going forward. Anything they release, you're going to get a variant to Chase Edition. Makes sense. Got to get the most out of your molds. We know how that goes. But we'll always remember the one that started it all. It was Hawk. It was Animal. It was the Road Warriors. It was the Legion of Doom. And they took the #1 spot in my top 10 year-end best of list for miscellaneous wrestling figures. And once again, I'm going to ask you, put your list in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. It always helps the channel when you give it the old thumbs up. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel. Even more content, including early access, over on Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com, which is also the name of my podcast, Kyle Peterson Show, wherever podcasts are found, and every single Tuesday on YouTube. So for the best of 2025, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?